Imagine a future where the skies over cities are filled with flying vehicles, completely transforming the way we live, work, and travel. This is no longer a vision of science fiction films, but an imminent reality. In this video, we will explore how flying cars will shape our future, from the way cities will be redesigned to the impact this will have on the environment, our infrastructure, and the very fabric of society. What will new air routes look like, and who will actually have access to this revolution in transportation? What challenges and opportunities will arise as aerial vehicles become an everyday part of our lives? Get ready to dive into an in-depth look at the future of mobility and how the era of flying cars could transform not only cities, but also our way of life. Let's imagine together what it will be like to live in a world where the limits we know today no longer exist. Block 1. The rise of flying cars.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
From science fiction to reality for decades, flying cars have been a recurring vision in science fiction films and books. From Back to the Future to Blade Runner, this technology has always seemed like something that belonged to a distant, almost unattainable future. However, in recent years, this idea has ceased to be just a dream. Companies around the world are investing heavily in the development of flying vehicles, and with major industry players like Uber Elevate, Airbus, Boeing, and startups like Lilium and Joby Aviation, this vision is getting closer to becoming a reality. The shift to personal air transportation is not just a technological revolution. It represents a new chapter in the way we think about mobility in cities and the very concept of urban life. The question is no longer if flying cars will become a reality, but rather when they will become commonplace and how their implications will shape the future of cities. Today, much of the progress in flying vehicles is being driven by technologies such as electric propulsion, which enables vertical takeoff and landing, VTOL. The range and efficiency of these vehicles are already beginning to rival traditional cars in terms of range and speed, but without the typical obstacles of congested roads and traffic jams. With these technologies evolving rapidly, companies are aiming to begin commercial operations within the next decade. However, the arrival of flying cars will go far beyond simply adding a new type of vehicle to our daily lives. The infrastructure of cities will have to change significantly to accommodate this new mode of transportation. We will need vertiports, places where vehicles can take off and land, as well as charging zones for electric vehicles. The concept of parking garages and parking lots could expand to the sky, with hangars and aerial platforms built on top of buildings. In addition, the airspace over cities will need to be regulated in a completely new way. Today, air traffic is highly controlled and monitored, but with thousands of flying cars in the sky, new traffic management systems will need to be developed. Tech companies are working on autonomous air traffic control solutions that will allow these vehicles to safely navigate dense urban areas without human intervention. As a result, cities will have to adapt quickly. New aerial infrastructure will be designed not only for flying cars, but also for drones and other autonomous vehicles. Urban architecture could be shaped by these vehicles, with buildings and public areas designed with vertical access in mind. The development of three-dimensional cities where transportation occurs both on the ground and in the sky could become a reality. Another important issue is the environmental impact. The promise of electric-powered flying vehicles represents an opportunity to reduce polluting gas emissions, especially in large urban centers. The energy efficiency of new engines, combined with the potential to reduce ground traffic, could bring significant benefits to the environment. The rise of flying cars will also open up new economic opportunities. Companies and startups that invest in creating vehicles, infrastructure, and air traffic control systems will be at the forefront of a new multi-billion-dollar industry. In addition, sectors such as tourism, freight transportation, and even emergency medical services could benefit from this new technology. The central question is, how will cities be prepared for this new era of air mobility? We are only beginning to understand how this technology will reconfigure urban life. But the question remains, what will the impact be on people's daily lives beyond transportation? What changes could we see in the way we work, live, and connect with each other? Block 2. Impacts on daily life. A new routine in the age of flying cars. With the arrival of flying cars, daily life in cities will undergo profound changes. The way we work, live, and move around will be constantly changing. At the heart of these changes will be the optimization of time and increased connectivity between different parts of cities, states, and even countries. By eliminating the barriers to land mobility, we will find ourselves in a scenario where distance will no longer be an obstacle. One of the main transformations will be the change in the way people travel to work. Today, in large urban centers, it is common for professionals to spend hours in traffic jams, wasting precious time on their daily commute. With flying cars, this reality will change drastically. The time spent in traffic will be significantly reduced, since journeys can be made in straight lines and at speeds much higher than those of conventional cars. This will allow people to live further away from urban centers without sacrificing commute time, which could lead to an expansion of suburbs and rural areas. In addition, air mobility will also bring significant benefits to rural and more isolated areas. With flying cars, accessibility to remote regions will be increased, promoting greater integration between these areas and large urban centers. Professionals who work remotely will be able to live in more remote places without worrying about the logistics of long commutes, which could generate a new flow of migration away from overcrowded cities. The change in lifestyle will also be reflected in the ways we interact with urban spaces. The concept of the city center will begin to blur as people can work and access essential services from any part of the city with ease. This will allow cities to become less dense, with greater decentralization of infrastructure, favoring a balance between urban life and green spaces. Urban architecture will also be profoundly impacted. New buildings will be designed with vertiports on their roofs, allowing direct connection to air transport. Thus, commercial buildings, hospitals, and entertainment centers will become true air hubs, connecting directly to the sky. Another important impact will be on the way people socialize. The extra time saved on commutes can be directed to leisure activities, rest, or social interactions. Imagine having more time to spend with family or friends without the pressure of wasting hours a day in traffic. In addition, with the ease of mobility, meetings and social events can take place in different parts of the city or even in remote locations without distance being a barrier. From an economic point of view, the democratization of flying cars can create new business opportunities. Companies focused on tourism, for example, will be able to offer packages that include air travel through remote cities and landscapes, transforming the concept of urban travel and tourism in an unprecedented way. Furthermore, by optimizing travel times, professionals will be able to attend appointments in several cities on the same day, which will expand the possibilities for work and business. Companies will be able to count on a more flexible and geographically diverse workforce, since mobility will no longer be a constraint. However, the impact of flying cars will not be limited to mobility in the economy. The very way in which cities are organized and how services are provided will also be transformed. Emergency services, such as ambulances, firefighters, and police, will be able to use flying vehicles to respond to incidents much more quickly, saving crucial minutes in life or death situations. The delivery of goods, from food to medical products, will also be optimized, with drones and small flying vehicles making direct deliveries. But with all this change, a new question arises. How will air traffic and safety responsibilities be regulated in an increasingly crowded sky? Block 3, Air Safety and Regulatory Challenges, Controlling the Skies of the New Era. With the rise of flying cars, air traffic control and regulation will become one of the biggest challenges facing authorities. Unlike traditional streets and roads, the sky is a vast three-dimensional area with no traffic signals or delimited lanes. As such, it will be necessary to develop a complex air infrastructure to ensure that all flying vehicles can operate safely and efficiently. A key issue will be how to create a system that organizes and regulates the flow of thousands of flying vehicles over cities. Today, commercial aircraft already follow strictly regulated air routes, with the help of control towers and automated systems that monitor the position, altitude, and speed of aircraft. However, to integrate flying cars into air traffic, it will be necessary to develop a new layer of air control that operates in a decentralized and automated manner. This will involve the use of artificial intelligence, big data, and real-time communication networks to monitor and manage urban air traffic flows. Furthermore, the decentralization of this system will allow 5G technology or even more advanced systems to be essential to ensure that all flying vehicles are interconnected and can exchange data in real time. These systems will allow vehicles to detect obstacles, changes in weather conditions, and other aircraft in real time, enabling automatic adjustments to avoid collisions and ensure the safety of all. Therefore, the concept of smart cities will be vital to integrate airspace with other urban infrastructures, allowing harmonious coordination between aerial vehicles, drones, and other urban transport systems. However, one of the biggest challenges will be ensuring the safety of these systems. The exponential increase in the number of flying vehicles in cities could create new risks, such as mechanical failures, accidents, and even cyber attacks. Therefore, the development of robust safety standards will be essential to protect both passengers and people on the ground. Flying car manufacturers will have to develop vehicles that follow strict maintenance and safety protocols, and the government will need to implement regulations that ensure that all vehicles comply with these standards. Another important issue will be liability in the event of accidents. In land traffic, traffic laws are clear about the responsibilities of drivers in the event of collisions. However, in the sky, where the dynamics are much more complex, the assignment of liability in the event of accidents between flying cars still needs to be defined. This will include not only the rules for the pilots of these vehicles, but also the responsibilities of the companies that manufacture and operate the flying cars, as well as the suppliers of software and air control technology. With increasing automation, ethical questions about algorithmic decisions in emergency situations will also be raised.
We got lucky. They don't chase you after a mile, they don't chase you. I think it's 2 miles. Hang on.
Another key aspect will be the impact on the environment and the noise caused by the operations of flying cars. For these aircraft to be viable in urban areas, it will be necessary for the engines and propulsion systems to be extremely quiet and sustainable. The adoption of electric technologies will be essential to ensure that cities do not suffer from noise pollution and excessive carbon emissions. Companies like Uber, Elevate, and Lilium are already developing prototypes of electric vehicles with vertical takeoff and landing, which promise to minimize environmental impact. But the scalability of these systems is still unknown. In addition, airspace will not be exclusive to passenger transport vehicles. Drones for deliveries, emergency services, and even surveillance systems will also share the sky, which will require more refined coordination. Regulations will need to ensure that these different types of aircraft can operate simultaneously without interference or risk. With all this, an inevitable question arises. What will be the balance between government control and private development of the technologies that will dominate the skies in the era of flying cars? Block 4, Social and Cultural Impact. Reimagining urban life in the age of flying cars. With the advent of flying cars, not only will infrastructure and regulatory systems be transformed, but the very social and cultural fabric of cities will be profoundly altered. The ways in which we live, work, and interact with the urban environment will be transformed in a new era of aerial mobility, directly affecting the social dynamics and structure of cities. One of the main changes will be the spatial redistribution of cities. Today, the most valued and densely populated areas are close to urban centers, where access to work, services, and leisure is easier. However, with the availability of flying cars, geographic location may become less relevant, as physical distance will be shortened by the speed and convenience of aerial vehicles. This will allow people to live in more remote areas, perhaps even in rural or suburban areas, without compromising their daily commute time. The concept of periphery could be completely redefined, as the value of a property will be determined more by its quality of life and less by its proximity to urban centers. This phenomenon of decentralization could, in turn, generate a more equitable distribution of resources. As cities expand horizontally and become less dense, previously marginalized areas will be able to develop and attract more investment, resulting in more balanced urban growth. In addition, remote work, which has already started to gain popularity with the digital revolution, will be even easier. With less time spent in traffic and the possibility of faster air travel, the definition of where we can work and live will expand dramatically. Another important impact will be on social interactions in the way we perceive time and space. Flying cars will drastically reduce travel times, allowing people to have more free time to dedicate to personal and leisure activities. With less stress caused by traffic jams and long commutes, people's quality of life could improve significantly. This could usher in a new era of work-life balance, where mobility flexibility expands the choices of where and how we spend our time. On the other hand, this transportation revolution will also bring new social challenges. One of the main ones will be affordability. Initially, flying cars will likely be a luxury available only to the very wealthy, further increasing the inequality between those who can afford this new form of mobility and those who remain dependent on traditional ground transportation. The issue of air mobility for all will be a central debate, and governments and companies will need to find ways to ensure that these technological advances benefit society as a whole and not just a small segment of it. This may require subsidy policies or the creation of affordable air taxi services, as already proposed by companies like Uber Elevate. In addition, the cultural impact will be significant. People will begin to perceive the urban environment differently, with a new perspective on three-dimensional space. Cities will be seen not only from the ground, but also from above, as an integrated infrastructure network. Architecture and urban design will have to evolve to meet these new needs, with buildings that facilitate vertical takeoffs and landings, as well as safe airspace for vehicles to circulate. This shift in perspective could inspire new forms of art, cultural expression, and even entertainment, as cities are seen from a whole new perspective. Urban areas will also become air cities, with new areas for socializing, leisure, and even commerce at higher levels, such as rooftops and floating platforms. The concept of walking in the city could expand to flying in the city, creating new social and cultural dynamics. The development of suspended public spaces, such as aerial parks and markets, could become commonplace, revolutionizing the way we interact with the environment around us. Ultimately, the question remains: how will these technological and cultural transformations shape the future of social inequality? And what will be the new challenges to ensuring that the future of urban air transport is accessible to all? Block 5, sustainability, energy, and new environmental solutions. In the era of flying cars, sustainability will be a major concern for both cities and humanity as a whole. Air transport has the potential to positively transform our relationship with the environment. But it also poses significant challenges. The question is, how can we ensure that the future of urban air transport is truly sustainable and contributes to the preservation of the planet? One of the most promising aspects of flying cars is the fact that most current projects are focused on electric solutions. Companies such as Lilium and Volocopter are developing electric vertical takeoff and landing eVTOL vehicles, which are designed to be significantly more energy efficient than conventional means of transport. The use of electric motors is a crucial step towards sustainability, as they do not emit greenhouse gases during operation, unlike combustion-powered vehicles. Furthermore, the electrification of flying cars could reduce dependence on fossil fuels, one of the biggest contributors to air pollution and global warming. However, while electric air transport represents a huge opportunity to reduce carbon emissions, it also directly depends on the energy source used to recharge the batteries of these vehicles. If the electricity used comes from non-renewable sources, such as coal or oil, the positive environmental impact can be nullified. Therefore, for the era of flying cars to be truly sustainable, it will be essential to ensure that the charging networks for these vehicles are powered by renewable energy sources, such as solar, wind, or hydroelectric power. In this scenario, cities will have to invest heavily in green infrastructure, creating charging stations that are not only efficient, but also environmentally responsible. In addition, aerial vehicles need to be extremely energy efficient in order to minimize their environmental impact. This raises questions about the design of flying cars. Aerodynamics, lightweight materials, and advanced energy storage technologies will be crucial to ensure that vehicles can travel long distances with the lowest possible energy consumption. Researchers are already exploring the use of composite materials and technologies such as solid-state batteries, which promise to increase the efficiency and energy storage capacity while reducing the weight and environmental cost of air travel. Another important issue is the environmental impact of cities themselves. As urban transport shifts to the air, cities may need to rethink how they manage green spaces. Increased air traffic can bring noise and visual pollution, especially in densely populated areas. To prevent this from becoming a significant problem, urban planning will need to incorporate new guidelines for the use of airspace, ensuring that flight paths are designed in a way that minimizes the impact on residential and environmentally sensitive areas. In addition, a promising area of innovation relates to the concept of smart, sustainable cities, where flying cars are integrated into an urban ecosystem designed to be environmentally responsible. Buildings with integrated solar power systems, charging parks for air vehicles that use clean energy, and intelligent air traffic control based on AI are just some of the possibilities. This type of planning will allow cities in the flying car era to operate in harmony with the environment, reducing their carbon footprint and becoming benchmarks for sustainability. Finally, we must consider that the mass production of flying cars will also have environmental implications. While the use of recyclable materials and environmentally friendly manufacturing techniques can mitigate some of the damage, it will be essential to ensure that the factories that manufacture these vehicles adopt sustainable practices. The circular economy, where vehicles are designed to be disassembled and recycled at the end of their useful life, is an approach that will need to be explored urgently. Companies leading this technological revolution will need to invest not only in efficient vehicles, but also in an entire sustainable production and recycling chain. With this in mind, the question that remains is, will we be able to balance the technological growth of the flying car era with the urgent need to protect our planet? Or will the search for convenience and innovation bring new environmental challenges? Conclusion. As we move into the era of flying cars, we inevitably wonder how these technologies will transform the way we live, work, and interact with the environment. What once seemed like science fiction is increasingly becoming a reality, bringing not only convenience and efficiency, but also complex challenges, especially in relation to sustainability, infrastructure, and social equity. The futuristic cities we imagine, with flying cars cutting through the skies, can be seen as a great promise of technological progress. However, this new reality will require us to completely rethink our urban infrastructure, our energy use, and even our relationship with public space. The need for clean technologies, renewable energy sources, and effective public policies will be essential to integrate these aerial vehicles responsibly, without compromising the quality of life and the environment. In addition, the impact of this technological revolution will not be limited to transportation alone. The era of flying cars also prompts us to reflect on the inequality of access to these new technologies and how to ensure that they benefit everyone, not just an elite few. The policies that shape this transition will play a crucial role in ensuring that these innovations improve the lives of all people in cities. But perhaps the biggest reflection is on what it means to live in a world where the impossible becomes possible. The era of flying cars is not just a technological transformation, it is a testament to the power of the human imagination and our ability to shape the future. It is up to us to ensure that as we embrace this new era, we do so consciously, planning for a sustainable and inclusive future. Are we ready to face these challenges and build truly sustainable and equitable cities? Or will the era of flying cars bring new obstacles to overcome? What about you? Do you like the idea of living in a time when flying cars become a reality? Do you agree or disagree with the points made here? Do you believe that flying cars will benefit everyone, or will they be a privilege for the few? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave your comment below. Here are some different images of flying cars. If you like this video, please share it, and don't forget to hit the like button. It helps us improve our work, and subscribe to our channel so you can watch more videos in the future. Here is a video that may be of interest to you. That's it for today. See you in the next video.